What is going on, YouTube? Pass the prop back here again. NFL edition, week 5. We got your best bets, props, everything. We're ready to go. Join as always. Stu, how we doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Another week, another Friday show. We were actually just here yesterday. Shout out to, I believe, almost 700 people tuned in on a rare Thursday show. So that was always good to see that people would still, pop out, even though we were a day late. We weren't $1 short. Turned out to be a pretty good show. But yeah, definitely fired up to be back here on Friday. I see the comments are already addressing the elephant in the room here. I mean, if you're a longtime viewer, the background is looking a little bit different over there.
It was immediate, bro. It was an immediate change, bro. Like, if I could, I'm sure Devin Williams' house has probably got fucking eggs on it. If he's got a gate on the house, I'm sure it's got. I'm sure people burning toilet paper on his house. I don't even know, but yeah, it happens, man. It happens. I said this to Stu too, bro. Like, one team wins this shit, bro. One team wins this shit, and I've seen 2 championships in my life with the Bucks. I was down there for that. Down there. All right. Well, this boy is getting blocked too. All right. I said this to Stu, bro. I'm blocking motherfuckers, man. They're gone. I already did it. Sorry, dude. I don't even know who it is, but Food is already out of there. I already blocked. If people are gonna do that, bro, like, I can do that at every loss your team ever had. I didn't block him. I just put him on timeout, bro.
Okay, that's good.
He ain't getting blocked, but you get timeout.
Oh boy, I was gonna say, I don't know if we've ever blocked anybody in the history of this show. Instantly firing.
No, we had some bots, bro. We've had some bots.
Yeah, we have had some OnlyFans bots in the past. That's true. We've been tight on getting those out of here. But I mean, I don't blame you, honestly. I don't ever use the block. I know you don't either. But it's one of those things that like my team fucking lost. I know, the whole world knows. Like, I don't need you telling me as well. That's one of those things.
I don't need this, bro. Like, goddamn, bro. I don't need that. I had 5 people send me shit before I got to my fucking car. Like, I didn't even get to my car, bro. Like, bro, I'm as big a fan as anybody, but fuck, bro. You don't think I knew they lost? I'm sitting there. The ball was like 30 feet in front of me. Like, I was literally right there. So it happens. As a Packers fan with Rodgers, they find a way to get there and always lose. This Brewers team, I honestly wasn't. They were projected 4th in the division, bro. Like, they weren't even supposed to be here yet. But yeah, it is brutal. I mean, it is what it is. Man. It is what it is. I am perfectly content heading over to NFL and getting rid of this. But I'll still be betting MLB. I think it almost makes it easier, so I don't even have to fucking pay attention on that shit. Like, lock in. I don't care who wins now. But I hope it's like the Royals or the Tigers or something, like a team that doesn't have that high of a payroll. I want one of those lower teams to win. Like, that's who you're rooting for now. It's one of those where it's like you just gotta cheer for some of those teams because it never happens with how shitty the MLB is with their payroll shit. It sucks, but I mean, hey, yeah, it happens, man. I mean, go Tigers. Even though I hate the fuckers, hopefully their grounds crew all got fired and their front office all got fired and shit. But go Tigers, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm rooting for. They got another win over there. Shout out to them. But yeah, we can move on now. Just wanted to get that rant out of the way early. I knew people would be asking, obviously after. I mean, just it's a gut wrenching game. Like, to be there, I'd be so mad. You've handled it better than I would. Like, I would be very reluctant to do the show today as well. Once again, like, it's hard to explain as like a sports fan. Like, it doesn't actually hurt that much. You obviously can move on with your life, but it's one of those things where you just don't want to talk to other people about sports. Like, they just got punched in the face. You know what I mean? So luckily for me, my team was out of it about 6 months ago, so I didn't actually have to feel any real emotions this year.
Yeah, it's funny, and this is the last thing I'll say on it. And this is also a shout out to you guys. Like, how many times has this happened to us or happened to me, like, in these bigger games? But, like, over the last 3 years, like, if this happened on, like, our first year of doing the show, bro, we were getting, like, 100 views on these. Like, there'd be, like, one person chirping me, and it'd be, like, someone we know because it's, like, all these guys that have been in here forever. Shout out to you guys. I mean, we're getting 1,000+ views on these, and you guys are wanting to come in and watch us. So at least you guys are here, right? That's why Foods didn't get the kick. He got a nice little timeout, right? We ain't gonna block nobody. We all are here to make money. on these, so that's what we're here for. But I also thought about that too. I'm like, damn, there's this many people watching to chirp me. So I mean, it's fine. But like, I thought back to like when I was doing the show like over here, and it was really looking like shit in my background. Everything was off. My fucking I didn't even have a light. I was just all over the place. So now I'm like, damn, people actually care to chirp me now. So it's like different, like we get enough of you guys in here and we see enough of you guys that are in here regularly. It makes it fun. And obviously, like I said, only one team can win. So I just fucking hope to God it's not a New York team. Hope to God it's not one of these freaking huge market teams, bro. Like, just give me a freaking low, like the Brewers, they're what, bottom 10 in payroll. Royals going to be down there in payroll. Like Detroit, I want one of these teams. So then maybe I want one of those big teams so the MLB changes some shit. Because this is just, it's like, how do you allow this to happen? Every other sport knows how to do this, except for fucking man.
Yeah. We could talk about this for hours, but yeah, fuck the Dodgers, fuck the Yankees. I mean, if you're rooting for I guess the Yankees, at least you were probably born there or whatever. The Dodgers is crazy at this point. You know what I mean? So, let's hope for a Tigers World Series. I'm completely with it. Royals, one of these small market teams. I was hoping for Baltimore, but unfortunately they can't. They seem to have the Brewers problem. Like, you got all the talent in the world. Wait, honestly, more talent, and you can't keep going through. But we really do got to get to NFL before everybody clicks off this video. So I'll stop talking now, and I can let you, transition us over here.
Yeah, we can do a quick recap. I'm not going to put mine on the screen because obviously the Brewers scored 2 fucking runs last night. But you got to win, so that's good.
Yep, Ray almost had a nice little first half cash, but he dropped one right before the first half ended, so couldn't celebrate early, but he skied over this number. It actually got bet way more than I thought. I mean, it sat at 33 and 34, right? And then it got bet down to 32. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that 32. Obviously, I figured it would sit around there for the rest of the day, and it moves to fucking 39 by game time. So clearly, you guys were on this with me. A lot of people were betting this, and he skied over pretty much any number possible. So shout out to Ray McLeod getting the job done.
I think the big shout's got to be to fucking Kirk, baby. Holy shit, dude.
Well, yeah.
Crazy, my guy. I was happy I still continue to play Kyle Pitts after his big old 0 last week. He finally actually got over 20 yards, which I don't remember the last time that happened. So he got there, and obviously, I mean, if you bet any over in that game, you pretty much probably got there outside of Tyler Algier. I thought that was hilarious, bro. I thought that was so fucking funny, dude. I looked at the box score. I'm like, they're going to score 40 points, and this boy's got fucking 12 rushing yards. And I was dead, bro. I was dead when I got home. I'm like, damn, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was hard. I was really
like that's the most bet thing in the world, and it just how do you not give the guy like they didn't have any even want to run the ball? Like there was no reason to do it, and it was just crazy, man.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I was rooting for our guy Jacob in the chat, but it was unfortunate that, it just never got going. I mean, every run to Bijan was like an outside toss as well, which is really funny because before the game I saw a stat that was like the Buccaneers have been really bad versus outside runs. And it's just funny to see every single run be an outside run. Like the offensive coordinator saw the same stat on Twitter, But yeah, it was a bit of a weird game. What's his name? Him and I guess Bucky stayed like a yard or two under his closing, but pretty much like you said, every other prop went over. Shout out to Ray. We'll keep going back to him in the future as well.
Yes, sir. It moves us. Let's get the record up on the screen. 9.36 units, 19 and 12. Heading into this week, let's talk some dog picks right away, Sue. Just because we kind of already talked yesterday about our game that we wanted to watch. Let's talk some dog picks. Got a couple. We have quite a few close games, honestly, like within a 3-point spread. So I will count anything over 2.5 as a dog here for this week, or 2. Let's go 2. 2 will be the mark that has to be for us to catch a dog.
Sounds good. That's a tough one, honestly. I'm looking across the slate. I really don't want to go like the Browns because that's kind of what I'm thinking. But those are my guys. They're going crazy. Okay, I'm gonna go to the Raiders here. We'll do Raiders plus 2.5. I don't think these teams are very far off. I really don't. Like the Raiders are a really ugly team. Broncos are a really ugly team. I've actually bet on the Broncos each of the last 2 weeks. I've been kind of high on them. They blitz a lot. Their defense is really good. And the Raiders are down Devontae Adams, but I do think that they can keep it close. They can keep it ugly. They still have some pretty solid weapons. I mean, I think Jacoby Myers probably gets locked down by Surtain on the outside, but I've actually really liked Trey Tucker, honestly. He's a real explosive guy. Then you got Brock Bowers there as well. Like, it's not a terrible room still. And the Broncos, if you don't remember, they still can't score, so they can't put a lot of pressure on you. Their defense is good, but they're not an intimidating team. They're not a team I want to bet to cover by margin. So in a week of ugly dogs, I'll take the Raiders.
Yeah, I think I've hit 4 straight dogs. I think 3 of them have won, so I'm feeling pretty good where we're at right now. I think it's tough because we talked about the Bengals game yesterday where it's just like it's weird, so I almost have to bet the dog in that one because it's like, why are you even close in this game? First off, that's not going to be my actual pick, though. Why – I don't even care who's the quarterback. I don't think the Colts are good, but I can never. How am I betting the Jaguars as a favorite, bro? How am I betting them for 3 points? Like, I get it. Like, yeah, we could see Flacco. We could see no Jonathan Taylor, but has anybody watched the Jaguars this year? That team fucking sucks. Like, they can't do anything. That defense is getting thrashed. Yeah, the Colts defense getting thrashed, right? But hey, Joe Flacco, baby, feed that Michael Pittman. I like that. We like that because I had Pittman and he hasn't done anything with Anthony Richardson's 27 completions over 4 games. Crazy, dude, just awful. So either way, I think I just have to take a team that I don't trust the Jaguars to cover by a margin. It's the same thing we talked about with the Jets last week. I don't think that they can cover me any points. So give me the 3. I'll set the 3. I'm expecting a push, to be honest. That's kind of what I'm expecting, but man, dude, it's like I said, it's the same thing as last week. Like, I couldn't trust the Jets to score enough to cover by margin. They just straight up lose, right? And a lot of these times, it's just like how I get it. They're probably a better team, like with the personnel that's there. But man, give them 3 points, man. I don't know. Even if those guys are out, I mean, even if they play at 50%, I still probably would want to lean that way.
Yeah, I think my worries, this game feels like the Bears-Rams from last week, where the Bears were a weird favorite. Like, no one really liked that number, but it still kind of stayed at that number despite the fact that people didn't really love it. Like, I just think the Jags, with the injuries, they still probably do have the better skill possession players in this game. And I think that's probably, what attracts people to them. Like, the Colts can't defend shit. I mean, they really can't right now either, especially on the ground. I'm almost thinking Flacco is better for the Colts at this point.
Honestly, for the receivers at least, like Downs and Pittman, you want Flacco there, bro.
Like, Richardson gives you the better chance of beating a better team, I think, but Flacco gives you the better chance of beating a team where you just need to check the ball down and not be stupid. Because, I mean, at this point, it feels like you can beat the Jags like that. So, I don't know. Taylor's a big one, going from him to Sermon, who's an okay backup, but nothing special is kind of tricky. So, that's just a complete stay away game for me. I feel like that's got to be the most disgusting game on the slate outside of that Patriots-Miami one.
Yeah, what an awful game, dude. What an awful game. Gerardo, I said the same thing, man. Me and Stu were talking about it. I want a Kirk reception line bad. But can't find it anywhere. DraftKings ain't giving me anything there. FanDuel isn't offering any props in that game. It kind of sucks. Because I would like to be betting on Christian Kirk this week in some way, shape, or form. So, all right, Stu, anything else here before we get it rolling here with the props? I don't think we'll talk about some of these questions. I see a couple questions in here. We'll get to those in between the two there, in between our second picks. So, you ready?
Good to go.
All right, let's start in the first game here.
Sounds good. I'm going to be going to one of the more exciting games of the week. We got the Bengals. We got the Ravens, 2 teams that really have not started out the way people expected they would, and now are kind of forced early on in the season in these kind of more back against the wall. These are pretty high leverage, especially a division game for both of these 2 teams who have not kind of taken care of the easy wins on their schedule, right? We just saw the Bengals lose to the Commanders. We just saw the Ravens lose to the Raiders. You got to seal down these early season wins when you're in such a competitive division, and that's exactly the case here. Now, Jamar Chase in his career against the Ravens has had a lot of success, But in particular, I wanted to filter it down even more to games that Marlon Humphrey was active in, as he's their lead corner. He's missed a decent amount of time over these last couple of years, but he does kind of change the defense when he's playing and when he's not. And I think he's someone that Chase is going to see a lot of. So in the games where Humphrey was active over these last couple of years, Chase has gone 8 for 86, 9 for 94, 9 for 50, and then that 8 for 201 game we remember a couple of years ago. So way over in all of his career games so far against Humphrey. It's a good matchup for him. Even though Humphrey's a strong corner, when you look on the season, the Ravens are a team that the rush defense has clearly been the strength so far. Averaging a sub 3 yards per carry on the season is the best rushing success rate, best EPA per play. They have a really strong rush defense. And the thing that kind of put them over the line is even in game 1 against Isaiah Pacheco, they were trailing all game. It wasn't one of those, oh, we're blowing them out so they can't run, which can, artificially inflate stats sometimes. Pacheco was ahead. They had the lead, and they still held them to 3 yards per carry, only 45 yards. So nobody's gone over that 45-yard mark against the Ravens on the ground. I don't think Zach Moss and Chase Brown are going to be the duo that kind of breaks that trend. I think we see that continue. So if you're struggling on the ground, you can't get things going, I really do think they're going to have to turn to the air right here. And they've actually been looking a lot better over these last couple weeks. Chase is over this in only 2 of 4 games this season, but he didn't really need to go over last week. He had an 85-yard total, 6 targets, but he only hauled down 3 catches because they were kind of kicking the Panthers' ass for most of that game. It wasn't really a trailing situation. And as you know, the Panthers really are bad on the ground. You can kind of control them that way. So in a game where that won't be an option, in a game where you are going to be forced to pass, I've looked at Jamar Chase lines for so long, right? For so many years, we've been looking at him. A 5.5 number is a great number with Chase. Like, I think across the board, his 70 receiving yards is a good number. Like, I think we're reception too low. I think we're about 8-9 yards too low. I get it hasn't been the strength, or he hasn't looked like the same Chase because they had the little delayed training camp, but he's looked really good over these last couple of weeks. They look more in form. The offense is looking stronger. It's going to be a close competitive game. And obviously the toughest part between catches and and yards is always kind of, deciding between them. But I do think receptions, the way they get him involved with like design screens, the way they get him close to the line of scrimmage targets is something they've historically really emphasized with Chase. And then against a tougher defense like the Ravens, I think that's where you lean on that a little bit more. So clear pass funnel right here. I like Chase. I think he continues to keep playing well right here. We're going over 5.5 catches, -120 over on FanDuel.
Nice. Yeah, I like that game. I will be obviously talking about it for my second play. So I'll be talking about I think that's the highest total, right? Outside, I think the Niners is like a 50, but that's because they're playing Arizona, who just defense is just atrocious. So I'm going to be playing my first one of these in a while, man. I did a race to in my first game with the Jets. I'm actually going to be doing a race to not to score a certain amount of points. So this is a DraftKings line game props. I'm going to be going to the Jets and Vikings, neither team to score 25. So that's -115 on DraftKings here. And I want to talk about a little bit here in these international games. I like that this is an international game. I think it's going to slow this game down even more. Second, Minnesota is actually playing at one of the slowest paces in the NFL so far this year. 4th fewest plays per game at 57. So I think that's actually important as well because they're slowing the game down, trying to, limit possessions. They've been super, super efficient in these possessions, but also a lot of short fields in these games as well. A lot of miscues by the other teams to give them shorter fields. I think that if they're going to score on the Jets, I don't think they're big plays. I think they're going to be the, slower, 10-play drives, taking up 8 to 9 minutes. If they are scoring touchdowns, that's been a lot better in the red zone than I expected them to be as well. Even if the Vikings do get down there. But I just really don't like the pace that the Vikings have been playing at. Obviously, the last game against the Packers, obviously they flew over their number. So you're going to obviously see those types of plays. But you also saw, in their third game, Jefferson scoring a 98-yard touchdown, right? Beating guys like that. I don't think this Jets team is giving up those big plays like that. They got to be coming out pissed here, especially defensively, losing to the fucking Broncos. Like, that is just an awful look I know Aaron Rodgers is good against the blitz, and you're going to see a lot of blitzing in this game from the Viking side. But I think that this game is a slow, methodical pace. I think it's probably like a 17-14. And when you look at these numbers, I mean, the total's at 40 already. I wouldn't be surprised to see that go bet down when people are like, oh, yeah, it's an international game. They're traveling over there. I think this is a great spot. I think this ends up being closed in like minus 130 because I don't think either team is getting over a 20 mark. But if I wanted to go to that one, it would have been a little risky for me. So the fact that I'm getting a good price on the 25, I feel great about it. But yeah, the Jets have a couple of these games where they're playing like last game. You look at their amount of plays. They had like 60 some, right? I think it was. Let me pull it up exactly. 70 plays last game. It's because you're playing the damn Broncos, bro, and they went 3 and out on like 9 of their drives in a row. So they just got the ball right back. So I just don't see big plays happening on either side. Rodgers still doesn't look really locked in yet. So I think that's going to be obviously you got to run the ball. Like if they don't have Breece Hall, dude, and they're not going to be making those methodical drives, that play action doesn't work. And that really just kind of kills this team. So I know everybody and their mother is betting on Garrett Wilson this week. But I think that it's going to come down to the run game for you, for the Jets, because when they do have it, they look really damn good. Give your defense a break. Let that really crappy offensive line just fall forward a little bit and get 4 yards a pop and just keep these drives going. So I think this is going to be a slower game, and I think this is a really good spot for an under. I don't want to take the team totals, but I feel like the neither is definitely the way I want to go.
Yeah, I like this spot a lot right here. I mean, it's two ugly or it's two strong defenses. The Jets are one of the ugliest offenses in the league. They're really slow. We're kind of seeing that every week. They're bleeding the clock down. They're getting up the line of scrimmage. They're slow. I don't think Aaron Rodgers likes this at all, by the way. I think this is a point of contention with him and the coaching staff. I think he wants to play at a little bit more tempo. I think he wants to read defenses on the fly. That's kind of what he's known for. But the Jets refuse to do that. Under this Saleh, I guess Hackett, if you want to say he's responsible for anything up there, they're really slow. Yeah, it's hard to say, but it's Rodgers is arguing on the sidelines and stuff, and this is only speculation, but that's my guess is that he'd prefer to play at a little bit of a quicker tempo here and let Rodgers control more himself out there. But they bleed the clock so much, they run on every first down. It's the same stuff we've kind of seen over these last couple of years, even with a much worse quarterback. So I like the under. I would not be interested. I actually did not know that Minnesota was at such a slow pace. That's also very interesting because, like you said, they benefited a lot from explosive plays. They benefited a lot from good field position, but that isn't really guaranteed here, especially with their, wide receivers facing one of the best corner duos in the league. So I would be playing under or nothing right here. No interest in any overs in this game. And to the Garrett Wilson point, I was close to betting him as well. I was really close. But the more I dug and dug and dug, every single one of those guys destroyed them through the slot and over the middle. They have the largest concentration of yardage allowed over the middle versus the outside of any team in the league, right? They're funneling stuff there. Garrett Wilson, only 30% of his snaps are from the slot. They're not moving him around in creative ways. They're not hunting mismatches for him. They're just treating him like it's the 1990s and go out and win on the outside. And I don't like that for a wide receiver. I want the Jamar Chase design touches. I want, the motion, and we're not really seeing all that. So for that reason, I had to kind of stay out on Garrett Wilson. But I do understand the buy opportunity because he's had the murderer's row of corners so far this year, back to back to back to back. So he'll get a better matchup, but I don't know if I trust this offense to actually scheme him up in creative enough ways for me to bet on him.
Yeah, and I mean, his numbers just keeps creeping, right? Obviously, when you get this many people betting the number and it just keeps moving up, it's I don't know. I feel like I just need you to show it to me first. I have to kind of have you show it to me first. If you're going to do that and you want to be early, those are the ladder opportunities, right? Those are the ones that you want to ladder. So we got 55 of you guys in here live with us. Hit that like button if you could. I think we're at 15 or 16. Let's get that up to 20 at least here, heading into our last round of picks. Let's take a look at some of the chat here. Food's talking about Wicks over 44.5. I know we talked about him before we even got on the live here. Is this something you want to go to? I know it continues to keep creeping up, and I'm sure by game time it's closing around 50.
Well, it's 50 right now. Yeah, maybe 44 is the opener, but it's best price in markets like 50 and a half right now. I still do like it there. My problem is I like Reed a lot as well. I like both of them. It's kind of hard to pick, but both of them are extremely inflated as well. My thing is I played Reed 61 and a half early in the week. I didn't think I would lose that number so quick though. I had to write up and everything for it and it was gone. It's like 65, 67. I mean, we're talking about jumping like 25 yards, like 30 yards within a week. Which is scary, man. And I know Reed is good. I was on him last week, right? I've been on him a lot this season, as both of us have been really all year. But it's one of those things that's just like the adjustment was made. So I'm not sure it's value anymore, especially when the Packers could just run all game. Like the Rams' rush defense is better than the pass defense. But if you're up 14-0, if you're up early, then it could just be the Josh Jacobs show. So for me, I like Reed a lot. The matchup is really good for Reed. I would play the 100+. That's probably what I'll do. Get a little ladder action again. But like the default number, laying big money, I can't do it with how high it's gone right now. I would probably just rather go to Wicks at a more, decreased number at like 50. He had a higher target share than Reed did last week.
Yeah, it's tough because I just cashed a what? 850 on the 100 like last week.
Yeah.
Now I'm betting $5 less. I can't. Getting 48 and a half last week. Now I'm having to pay 20 yards more. Like I just, it's kind of like a rule for me. I can't go back to the well on something when it moves that much. I mean, Christian Watson didn't even get that many targets anyway, and now we're just going to jump it like that. Would he have jumped up 20 yards just because of this matchup? I don't think so. I think they're also inflating the Christian Watson stuff, but Wicks is going to jump in and probably get a higher target share than Watson ever had, so it doesn't even really matter. I think it's actually worse probably for Reed with him out because now Wicks is actually controlling that. I think we get a little bit more tight end action. I think I saw somebody posting about Kraft. Let's cash some Kraft props. I think that's a good look, dude. I think the tight ends are going to be good looks in this spot. I think we might see a little bit more two tight end sets in this spot where we are running the ball, but they do a really good job of play action and getting that underneath stuff to those tight ends. I just can't, man. I can't bet Reed after I just did that. I can't bet those, and I think make you feel better. PPS over 16.5 longest reception for Kraft. The longest reception is 16.5 for Kraft. Oh. I will take receptions, bro.
I don't want to hit on the. I'd rather just go yards. Like 16.5 for a tight end is like more
running deep route
number. That's more than a George Kittle number. That's the best yak tight end in the league. I like Kraft, but what did he do to earn this kind of respect? I mean, man, that's a high number. That's a high number for a tight end. Like that's
actually his. I can't imagine that's actually his. I'm looking now. I'm actually very curious.
It might be.
If that is, I'm probably taking the under. Tucker Kraft is 17.5.
Wow.
Holy shit, dude. I like his yards, bro. I did like his yards. I just don't know if I want to go 17.5, bro.
Yeah, same.
Damn.
I like the yards, but
Jaden Reed is at 26.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Highest ever for Reed, by the way. Highest ever.
Oh, man. Well, no, and I get that. But that ain't what Tucker Kraft does. Like, watching the Packers offense, we've never been a tight end down the field unless you're talking about like Bubba Franks and shit, bro. We're talking like Bubba Franks and shit.
I think, once again, I'm not trying to hate on the number. I just think it's important to put it in context where, like, you should look at a tight end 16.5 receiving yards mentally like a 90 rushing yards or a 90 receiving yards. Like, it's a high-end outcome. It's an elite number, not a regular number. So seeing Tucker Kraft next to it is like, well, he wasn't even the starter to start the season. It's Luke Musgrave. He had to get hurt for this to even happen for Kraft. So I don't know. I mean, I like Kraft. I'd much rather just go yards, though. If we like, the volume, if we like the passing attack, because you're restricting yourself. Where if he gets that 15-yard catch, like that was likely the burst play for your tight end. You're not going to get 80 of those unless you've got like a George Kittle that can truck 4 people in a row. And I don't think Tucker Kraft is George Kittle.
Yeah, well, I mean, 3.5 over, right? 3.5 over reception, 17. Like, you might as well take the 36. 36.5 is his regular line. Like, damn, that's a nice line. I like that one. I'm also not a longest reception, longest rush guy. I rarely do it unless it's an under. That's pretty much the only time I ever do it. So, yeah, no, I'm not even saying that, bro. I'm not even saying that, like, but you also got to remember that was when we're running, different types of stuff here. And I don't know if I'm going to want to get to a longest reception on any tight end outside of Kittle ever. I just don't do that because you just don't see it that much. Like, you need it to be, like, very specific plays on those. And I get it, Musgrave's out, but, like, what would this be if Musgrave was playing, right? What would that be? Like a 14? It's just because you think that they're getting more opportunities, right? So it's just – I get it, but
too. I mean,
if Dobbs plays, why am I, like if he plays, like that's another 20%. Like, it's tough. It's tough to bet on the Packers right now because they have so many dudes mouths to feed and stuff. So I have no idea if Dobbs is going to be out. I have no idea.
Personal, so it's hard to guess. Like, it's not an injury designation. He got a personal designation. Yeah. So I've been trying to read up on it a little bit. The way they talked about it leads me to believe he's not going to play. If I had to guess, I would say like 60-40. The way LaFleur kind of said, like, he's still up in the air for the weekend, that would be my guess. But I literally no way to know unless there's been more like personal info released about whatever's going on. So I would likely lean out, but obviously you're not going to really know.
Yeah, no, dude, and I think you can ladder that shit, bro. I would ladder that shit over trying to play a longest reception because then you can get the fun stuff, right? We're going up the ladder there. So, any thought on this? Eddie really likes this spot for Eric All. I believe that's Bengals, right? Bengals tight end.
Yeah, he's the Bengals tight end, but also Gesicki. I mean, he's not the only one. They've got a crowded room over there. Apparently, they really like Eric All. He keeps being more and more involved. I'm saying no. I think if you look at it, so my guy Connor Allen at 4-for-4 played the under a couple of weeks ago. He's like the most hyper-efficient guy in the league. Like, he runs like 10 routes a game. He's barely out there. He's just hyper-targeted on his couple routes. So for me, I'm a volume guy. I want to see a lot of opportunity. I want to see, especially when you got Jamar Chase, T. Higgins on your team, I want to see, like plenty of opportunity. And All has just been super efficient on his limited opportunity. So for me, maybe he keeps balling out on low usage, but it's really hard to kind of consistently depend on that when the snaps and routes itself aren't very good. So he seems pretty solid, but pass from me, especially in a crowded room with tons of other good weapons on the team.
Awesome. Good looks. We got 60 of you guys in here. Let's get to our next plays. We'll get any other questions, drop them in there, guys. We'll get them after our next round of plays here. I'll kick it over to you, Stu, in the Sunday night game.
Yeah. We had to go back-to-back Sunday night. The vibes were good last week. We ended the night with Shakir cash-in, and man, this is just one of my favorite spots of the week. I was kind of thinking we were just going to get a 5.5 plus money. Like, I didn't think this 4.5 like option would be there. So I was super pumped to see that we even got this on the table in the first place. And Ferguson's the guy we talked about a lot. I mean, you and me were both on him before the season started. You bet on him recently in their primetime game. Like, we both are big fans of the role he provides. And for me, I think a big part of it is once again looking at the Cowboys and how they built out this team where, in my opinion, there were some pretty big flaws in the sense that not only do you have an underwhelming rushing attack, right? Rico Dowdle, Zeke Elliott averaging the least rush yards over expected out of any running back duo in the league so far. So they're underperforming via advanced analytics. And obviously the eye test would be enough to tell you that they haven't looked very good. So you're thinking, okay, I'm sure they have at least an intimidating passing attack, but outside of re-signing CeeDee Lamb, they did nothing to bolster this team. So you're sitting with Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert, and then this Brooks guy that's, out of nowhere. I barely, he seems like a special teams player to me. He's got a couple catches over the last couple of weeks. And now you take out Brandon Cooks, right? Now you have an injury. You take out one of the few weapons on this team. Every defense is just going to bracket the hell out of CeeDee Lamb. Like, it doesn't matter how good CeeDee Lamb is when he is legitimately the only guy you come in game planning against this defense. Like, Ferguson is now the clear second option, but if you watch Ferguson's routes, I mean, a good 50% of them are just like go out 5 yards, turn around. If there's pressure, you catch that check down. Like, we're not talking anything complicated. He's the safety blanket. He's the low ADOT check down option. And when CeeDee Lamb is inevitably bracketed all game, right, when he's facing tough coverage, it's probably going to be Porter Jr. out there on him. Like, I don't know, man. I don't have a lot of confidence in this offense to kind of succinctly move down the field. So I think we're going to see a lot of those checkdowns. I think we're going to see them try to run the ball early in the game. I don't know how successful that's going to be, but Jake Ferguson's coming off with some good form. He has 18 targets over his last 2 games. That's the most of any 2-game span of his career. He's over this in 2 of 3 on the season. Obviously, the first miss was that injured, first game of the year, but he's now gone over it back-to-back games. Mentioned it before, no Cooks in the lineup as well. And you throw in this pass rush on the other side, they're going to be in this backfield all day long. We're talking about TJ Watt. We're talking about the Steelers, one of the more intimidating pass rushes in the league. Just think about it logically. Who's the guys that are going to benefit the most from that? Obviously, you're going to have your running backs in there in pass protection, but it's going to be guys running short routes. It's going to be guys get the ball to them immediately. And sure, CeeDee Lamb's going to get 3 or 4 screens. He does that every single week. Ferguson's going to be the second in line. And honestly, he's the second in line in the whole team in terms of target share. So I don't see any reason why I wouldn't back Jake Ferguson here over this number in back-to-back games. Not a matchup I'm scared of. I guess the one thing people, if you hyper-focus at this game, it would be, hey, the Steelers haven't actually allowed a tight end to go over this number this year. Go back and look at every single tight end they face. The best tight end they face is Kyle Pitts week 1. I think he went 3 for 20 or something underwhelming like that. If you haven't paying attention, I mean, Kyle Pitts has not been good all year long, right? I'm not really too worried about that. He's the best tight end they face. Since then, it's been like Will Disley. And every week, it's just been like 3 for 19 to Disley, 3 for 18 to Dulcich. Like, it's nobody intimidating. But last week I went back, and once again, the Colts don't throw to their tight end at all. If you look at the QB throw chart and you look at where Flacco was checking down, it's just that short middle. It's everything exactly in that hot zone that he's going to be in. So I love the spot for Ferguson. I wouldn't have even laid a 4.5 number, like 4.5 minus 135. I get it's a little bit juicy, but I wouldn't have even like laid this number if I was a book. I definitely would have opened at 5.5 plus money. So love this spot right here. I think Ferguson is just peppered with these short yardage targets. And even if it's a competitive game, if they're behind, right, if the Steelers defense forces mayhem, then he might like double this number if they're somehow in a trailing game script. So love this spot. Let's go Jake Ferguson.
Oh yeah, we'll pack of Badgers, baby. That's why we put that up there. Put that up there. I knew Jake Ferguson finding his way to the card. So I love it. I love to see it. What book is this one on? Just for people wondering on those.
I can check. It was on all the books before. It was like DraftKings, I assume, had the best price, but let me check real quick. We got 4.5 minus 135 on DraftKings, then we got minus 138 on FanDuel, minus 140 on MGM. So any of those work.
Yeah, and again, guys, we have mine's going to be more like a parlay legs here for these two. You can always buy down our things too and throw those into stuff as well. I know, like the Jamar Chase, you go down to 5, go down to 4 for Ferguson, you're probably getting damn near minus 120 on that as well. So just other options if you do have those buy down options. I know a lot of books do now on those. I'm going to one combo here, and I'm going Jordan Love 225, Lamar 40 rushing yards. Let's go to Lamar first. This is FanDuel, by the way. Just in case anybody was wondering, 275 on Love, 265 on Jackson right now. Let's start out with Jordan Love. Damn, this Rams defense is bad, bro. I read that it was 40% of drives end in touchdowns as his defense. When has that number ever been that high? That is absurd, bro. 40%? That is crazy, dude. I also think that we're going to start seeing, I think LaFleur gets a little cocky this game. You go back to playing against McVay. They've been friends for how many years? This is a game we have to put it out there, man. Show them we got some new stuff in the bag, right? Nice part is Jaden Reed's running those little ones where you just do the little pop pass. Those count for passing yards. I did really like the talk about Tucker Kraft. He's been really good in his sample size of actually getting passes. He's a really good blocking tight end. But just having that on there as well. Wicks working down the field. Bo Melton. I saw somebody hyping up Bo Melton. Don't mind him down the field. He's getting those, more Gabe Davis type routes down the field there a little deeper. But it's just a really deep receiving core right now. A lot of young guys. It's tough for me to want to bet a specific guy just because there are so many. So I'll just go to Love. This is what I usually do when I like a lot of these guys. I just take the quarterback. Buy it down a little bit because I think it's 258 is his normal line. So I feel like this is a really good number for me to get a nice 30% 30-yard discount there. Feel great about that. Lamar Jackson gets the Bengals, baby. I love that. And I also really like that. I believe Hendrickson's playing this week too. Hey, let's go up the middle. Lamar Jackson's been running up the middle more than I've seen him run in between the tackles in a long time. And he's been really effective. Like, how many of those plays last week did he just step back and just go straight up the gut on like these draws, or even because the Bills were doing a good job of stopping him from going outside. So he's just like, all right, let's just go up the middle. And he ends up 10-yard gain. Also, looking at past quarterbacks, and obviously none of them are even really relatable to Lamar Jackson and his shiftiness. I guess you could say Jaden Daniels, but the designed carries for Jackson are just so much better, dude. He's just so shifty in between those tackles. But Jacoby Brissett had 32 rushing yards in his game. Jacoby Brissett's old as hell and runs probably like a 7.2 40 if you have him run right now, right? Mahomes, 30. 39 for Jaden Daniels. That was with obviously a touchdown. Even Andy Dalton got freaking 10 yards, right? I mean, dude, if we're going to give him the amount of carries that he's been getting lately, I think this is a smash spot for him in terms of rushing yards. Again, still up in the air with the spread. It's so weird that it's still at, I think it's 2.5 now. It was 3 yesterday, and we were kind of talking about why is this 3? If we go off of why this has always been so weird, I think the Ravens will be losing in this game, because that's literally every time we're like, why is this spread like this? It goes the opposite way. So he's hit this in every single game so far this year. He's even hit it in the Vegas game where he only ran the ball 5 times, right? So efficiency's been there. We've seen him with 14 and 16 carries in 2 games this year, and even hit it last week against the Bills with 6 carries only. So I think he's obviously – doesn't matter if it's volume, doesn't matter if it's just efficiency. I think Lamar's getting to 40, and obviously I love the Jordan Love look this week against this Rams team that just ass.
Yeah, I love this combo a lot. I think this is I'm going to have to definitely tail this combo right here. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the one you did with Geno Smith a little bit earlier in the week, honestly, where like Love has so many good weapons. I talked about Lycan Reed earlier. I talked about Lycan Wicks earlier. Like, when you can't limit it down like that, when a lot of guys have good, options, it's better to just go to the quarterback. You get to buy it down a little bit as well. And then Lamar 40, I mean, in competitive games, that's one of the most, consistent things you can go to, where he uses his legs in competitive games. You just have to filter out the ones where they're ahead by a lot, they're beating the crap out of teams, which has happened a decent amount over these last couple seasons, that it really kind of lowers the average, right? But he's a guy that he will fully commit to using his legs when the game calls for it. And this is going to call for it. It's going to be a good divisional game. My biggest thing is, it's what's the deal with the Bengals D-line? We got Hendrickson injured, Hill, banged up. I need to see a completed injury report. I'm curious if they're going to be able to hold Derrick Henry in this game, because that's the other.
They're both playing. They're both will play. Yeah, I don't know how much, but I said the same thing. Like, if they can't slow down Henry, why would they even run Jackson? But I did see Hendrickson was playing, and I did see that Hill was in whatever that means. I don't know if that means playing a limited role or what, but still, just the thought of having him in there obviously will help out.
No, 100%. And I mean, it's one of those things where Henry's probably going to see insane stacked boxes all game. It's just going to be, we need to try to somehow stop Derrick Henry. And so that's going to open up running lanes for Lamar. That's going to open up, some nice fake opportunities, pull back the handoff, keep it himself, some good explosive run opportunities. So I love this combo. I think this is extremely safe. I think this should probably be one of those. It's minus 140, minus 150. So definitely going to be telling you on this one.
Awesome. Obviously, always like to hear your back. And remember, guys, I know there's been a lot more the new viewership coming here. Me and Stu don't talk plays until we get here about 3 minutes before the show starts. So if you hear us say we like to play, it's not like it's one of those.
It's real time.
It's not scripted and shit. We pop on here 5 minutes before we start and we go ham, dude. We're not corporate and shit. Or we're going.
You see me
2 hours before. Let's think about how I'm gonna hype yours. No, it's live. It's live. That's how we do it.
Every time I have to say something nice about you, you just see me squinting to read a text. Oh yes, Justin, that is a fantastic play. I love how you take it. Yeah, no, that'd be funny though. I like that. We can just start fake reacting to each other's plays.
No, before we'll get to these other things here, but my favorite is always when we get guests to come on and they're just they look at us and we're absolutely just talking shit, and I'm just why would you take that shit? Like, why? You know, it's just like something like that. And people are like, oh, you guys, it's just like a weird like reaction from people because I don't think they're used to people shitting on each other. Like sometimes I'll shit on some of your plays, and sometimes shit on mine. But like that's why when you do say they're like positive to it, it obviously makes me feel a little bit better because obviously I know you tell me if it's like, yeah, I don't think he's I don't think he's getting there. So it's nice because yeah, we're not really on that fake shit here.
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. I think people learn something from us, like dissecting each other's plays. Because like you said, we don't talk about them. So I'm hearing your analysis for the first time and I'm giving my thoughts on it. And that's why in the past, we've argued and stuff and had disagreements. The funny thing this year, we haven't had like a long-term player we disagreed about. That's actually been the theme the last couple of years. Gino was the biggest one where we were like arguing about guys every week. There actually hasn't been someone like that this year. So we gotta start taking stronger stands on some of these players. I gotta start calling out guys for sucking more often. And then maybe we'll see what happens.
Gino Baker, I think, are the only two big ones that I.
But I was pro Baker. That was fun.
No, but I was early on the Baker one where I was like almost too early. Like I was like a couple weeks like before he actually did good when he was on the Panthers and he was just dog shit. And I'm like, Baker, I'm sticking with you, man. But the first 3 weeks I was getting roasted by everybody because he was ass. And then I'm like, hey, I like being on that island, man. The island's fun sometimes. Obviously, it's shitty when it doesn't go your way, but you got to be out there sometimes on your own out there to really appreciate it. So let's take a look at these questions. A lot of questions popping in. If you guys have any, this would be the time to drop them. We'll get into them right now. I'll kick over to you, Stu. Any thoughts on Whittington? I know I've heard you mention the name a few times on show. Any thoughts here on Jordan Whittington in the spot against my Packers?
Yeah, I was talking about him in the 4for4 chat this morning. It's interesting. I think he's the live bet guy for me. I think that's how I'm going to go with it because what happened is 2 weeks ago, the whole world was like Whittingham, blah, blah, blah. We need to bet on this guy, Cooper Kupp rule, right? They come out. McVay talks about heavy 2 tight end sets. He talks about running the ball. That's exactly what they do. And he barely even touches the field, right? They're running other guys on the outside. He's more of a slot guy. He gets fully cut out of that game script. So then, okay, nobody cares about him anymore. Of course, he then pops off last week. Exactly how football goes. My thing is, I don't know how they're going to approach this game. I don't know if they're going to come out in the jumbo sets and try to run the ball more 2 wide receivers, kind of sets, or if they're going to go and sling it a little bit more, have them in the slot. Then you like them a lot more. I think they're going to be trailing in this game, so I would lean the over. But it would have to be a live bet for me. I want to see how aggressive they are with 3 wide receiver sets. I want to see how the game script's going. But if they do fall behind early or if they do, come out aggressive with the 3 wide receiver sets, then I would be betting him 100%. I just personally want to see it first. I want to see how they attack this game. Maybe we get some McVay quotes again or something like that because their game plan of attack really does affect this a lot.
Yeah, I could see Kyron just be in for a fat workload this week. I could just see them just try to just milk the shit out of this clock. You're not as I won't say talented, but right now their roster is not as talented. When they have Kupp and Nakua, sure, but like right now, I think McVay knows like we got to shorten this game, bro. Like we got to figure out a way. And obviously, Kyron looked fantastic last week. Got me real high up in the money and DFS because very low owned last week I had him, so it was nice. So. Let's get this one again, just because we see Garrett Wilson popping on here. I already have the Jets bet. I have the neither team to score 25. We've come up with this. We talked about how a lot of people like Garrett Wilson this week, and I understand it. Like, there's a lot of reasons to like him, but there's also like, who else are you really worried about in this offense? Like Allen Lazard, bro. You could put your 4th string corner on him. This dude ain't running fast routes. This dude ain't fast. He's old. I don't know, Stu. I think I'm saying off Garrett Wilson this week just because I've seen so much love for him, and I think it might be just more like that Algier thing scaring me off again.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of covered it earlier why I don't like it in the beginning of the show, but like only running 30% of his routes from the slot. They're not creatively using him. They're not hunting mismatches for him. They're just treating him as a traditional boundary wide receiver on the outside. All these wide receivers that have crushed Minnesota, every single one of them, Rice, Debo, Reed, you go through it, they all crushed him over the middle. They funneled more yards to the middle of the field to the slot guys than any other team in the league. And I mean, I don't know who that guy is for this team. That's the thing. It's like Xavier Gibson. I don't know. It should be Garrett Wilson. It should be him, but that doesn't mean the coaching staff is going to do that. So I don't know what to do. It's not Lazard. It's not Mike Williams. Like, I don't know. Wilson makes sense, but I'm not going to do it. Don't say Malachi Corley either. Don't say
No. Big bad Tyler Conklin. Big bad Tyler Conklin, 10 receptions, baby.
Yeah. I bet him
up.
Watch the game last week before you go bet on him again. 3 for 13 on 7 targets. It makes you want to throw up. Like, it's terrible. Like, it's so bad. I don't know. I agree.
Ugly, bro. But, like, it sucks he's not on the normal DFS slate, bro. Or else I'd play him a lot more than I should. But just a thought. I think that's really the only guy I know going across the middle. I ain't betting no Malachi Corley till he plays more than like
20. Well, yeah, he's not going to play out. Yeah, I was just trying to see if that's who you're calling for.
I love me some Malachi Corley, bro. You already know that. I love me some Malachi Corley, but well, you have to be on the field to produce. So. Yeah. Makes it a little tougher. So, Stu, I see Paul bringing up another guy that we talked about pre-show. I think. Dude, I am so high on Christian Kirk this week. Give me some freaking props, bro. Give me some goddamn props. I want some props in this game. FanDuel has no props outside of Trevor Lawrence. Looking on the other side, there's just nothing out in this game, man. I need those so bad. I'm going to be betting Christian Kirk up the wazoo this week. I played him in I only do 3 entries in the DFS for NFL. And guess who was in all 3 last week? Christian fucking Kirk, baby. And guess what? It was great. Yes, Brian Thomas did awesome as well, but this line is kind of wild, bro, right? This line is starting to climb a lot higher than I was expecting to see Brian Thomas at. So do you agree with me on this? I know we kind of talked about it. I think we talked a little bit more on the love for Kirk, but I kind of am away from Brian Thomas a little bit.
Yeah, me too. It sucks. I hate having to say negative things about people I like. I'm a big fan of Brian Thomas. The talent is there. I'll take it a step further. I would rather have Brian Thomas than Christian Kirk on my team. Like, I think he's going to be a better player.
I have Kirk on 2 of them, and the one that I don't have Kirk, I have Brian Thomas. So.
I don't mean fantasy team. I mean like real life team, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, I like the talent. I like the long-term upside. But, man, we're talking about like a 3-game sample size against cover 3, cover 4, and people are like, oh, my God, he has the best yards per route run of all time. What is the sample size, guys? The guy's been he's been in the NFL for like a month. Like, what are we doing here? Crowning him like the most efficient wide receiver versus coverages. Like, that's such a small sample size. He's good. He beats people downfield, but he's not a high-volume guy. I'd probably rather play longest completion. That would be my preference over yards. We're forgetting Christian Kirk. Evan Ingram is coming back. How many 8-catch for 40-yard games did Evan Ingram have? He's a target hog. Like, there are guys that are going to be involved. I don't know what's going. I like Brian Thomas a lot, but this line is treating him as like the clear number 1 on the team when there's plenty of competition. So I don't know. I hate to be like negative, but somebody has to be, I guess. Like, the whole world is only saying positive things about him. And I like most of what I'm hearing, but like, we're really, I feel like over – like, and I get it's a good matchup. Like, it's probably one of the best matchups you could possibly have, in fact. But, like, damn, Gabe Davis is out there.
It's a good matchup for everybody, though. It's a good matchup for everybody on that team.
Yeah. ETN could have a come-alive game, or Bigsby if he's the new guy on the ground.
Fuck Tank Bigsby, bro. Like, well, he wasn't even good in college, and now they're just feeding this dude.
Yeah, it doesn't make
damn.
Yeah.
I will stand on that soapbox forever, dude. That dude was dog shit in college, and it just gets his high-ass pick, but I guess he was at a big school. I get it. But all right, we got 2 guys left to talk about. Trevor bringing up Zay Jones, I believe that would be, or maybe Zay Flowers. No, Zay Flowers. Zay Jones hurt. Zay Flowers. And we also have a spot here talking about Jaden Daniels rushing yards. So, Stu, which one do you want to take first here?
I'll do Daniels rush yards quickly. I think it's a good look. I like the over. I don't have any negative arguments to it. It's 48-49 now. Brian Robinson is back, so if that's what you're hoping for, like, he's probably going to – or he's not back. He's a game-time decision. Sorry. Eckler is back as well. Yeah, it's going to be like Robinson wasn't expected at practice and he was still there. Like, I think it's a healthy team, healthy backfield. So you're not necessarily getting that like elite value without the running backs there, but I still do think it's a good look with how much man coverage they play. Washington hasn't seen corners this good yet. Even though Emerson is struggling on the outside, they do have Ward as well. Like, I think it's a good opportunity for him to run. He's run a lot when he's been blitzed so far this year. He has the highest scramble rate in the league against the blitz. So I expect to see that again. I definitely think he has a good rushing game.
Yeah, I think my issue is just having Eckler back, having those guys that run those shorter routes as like safety blankets. And I think that might just be me. Again, I have a lot of Jaden Daniels in best ball. It's been really nice, but he's still a small guy. I just don't want him running 14, 15 times. Like, if you ever watch Lamar, dude never takes any big hits because the dude knows when to go down. He goes down early. He does go down a lot of the times feet first, but the times he does go head first, it's going straight into the ground and there's no one around him, you know? So, and he's just really good at being shifty and getting out of the way of those big hits. So it's just, for me, I'm always nervous when I see him go for a run just because I know how, like, I've seen him get blown up at LSU a few times. So for me, I think I like the opportunity of having Eckler there as the safety blanket underneath, just in those spots where last week, you know, there was none of that, right? It was all Brian Robinson. Then when he went out, there was really nobody underneath outside of Ertz, and Ertz got peppered with targets in those like 2-minute drill drives where he wouldn't have to do everything himself. He could just check it down. So I don't know if I'm overthinking it. Obviously, you watch Washington a lot more than me. But I don't know. I feel like if I'm a Washington fan, I want him doing those check downs a little bit more than just taking like those 3-yard carries and taking a hit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with that. I do, and I think that's going to be the goal. And I think he's been doing a good job of that over the last couple of weeks. But when you're against Myles Garrett, you don't have that time to think, right? You're kind of like, fuck, I got to go escape. Yeah. I got to get out of here, right? So, like, that's going to be the plan, no doubt about it. But Reed is always still a guy that's been very comfortable running when he's under pressure. It's kind of the defense mechanism, and it's what's going to need to keep him alive here. Because Washington O-line's been good, but this is going to be a tougher test with one of the best edge rushers in the game.
Beautiful. I'm just looking up the board right now. I think we talked about a lot of the stuff. I think we got through everything here outside of the last one from Paul. If you guys have anything, drop them in there. We'll try to get through these quick. Thoughts on Diggs? I didn't even hate on Wilson. I get nervous on these spots, especially when everybody in the world, and like I said, and their mom are betting on Garrett Wilson this week. Hey, sell the house, put it all on Garrett Wilson. Like, that's literally what I've been hearing from people. You know, it's just kind of scares me off when there's this many people liking him. Like I said, I think he's a great player, and I think he's obviously doing very well. But I think Diggs has a decent game in this one, right? Don't you think so? With Tank Dell probably only playing like 50-60% of snaps if he does play.
Yeah, I do. I like it. I actually would prefer Dell to play and then Diggs' receptions line to be like not juiced at 4.5, you know, maybe like 4.5 minus 130 instead of minus 190, because it's mostly 5.5 now. Because he's got that slot role. He's going to be their full-time slot wide receiver, even though most people thought that would be Dell. We've actually seen Diggs as the low ADOT kind of check down safer target so far this year. So I would, especially Buffalo, super high cover 2 rate. They're really good against the outside wide receivers, and they allow a lot over the middle. Very similar to what I was just talking about earlier. So I do like Diggs. I would have played him already if the lines were a little bit better, but it's definitely something I'm going to be watching for the rest of the week. Yeah,
dude, that Houston team, man, it's just such a fun team to watch, man. They just go so fast. They just go, baby. Chuck that thing around. Obviously, I think Mixon is back this week.
I don't think he's going to play, actually. It looked like he was at first. But
I know that he didn't practice, and I saw a lot of stuff coming out about him there. It was just like
Pierce now that's going to be back. Pierce and Akers, it looks like, are going to blend a little bit more.
All righty. Let's recap. We still got 50 of you guys in here an hour later. Appreciate you guys, as always. If you could hit that like button, we appreciate it. Stu, let's get a quick recap here, and then maybe we'll do some touchdowns this week.
Sounds good. Yeah, drop any last-second questions you got. We got Jake Ferguson over 4.5 catches, minus 135. I'd play that to minus 150. Or actually, I played at 5.5 plus money for half a unit, because if you're watching this Sunday night, that's what it will be then. We got Jamar Chase over 5.5 catches, minus 120. Over on FanDuel, I'd play that to minus 145.
Beautiful. I'll be on Jordan Love, 225, with Lamar Jackson, 40 yards rushing at minus 114. And I'll be on the Jets, Vikings, neither team to score 25 at minus 115 in the London game. Stu, I think we might need to do it. Do we want to go back to doing a touchdown? Or you want to do you got a long shot for me?
No, let's do a touchdown this week. I like it because I had to pivot a little bit on the fly because my original one was just going to be Jake Ferguson, but that's a little bit boring. You know, we've already talked about Jake Ferguson. He's got a good price, but I did want to throw that out there. That was going to be my OG, but I will definitely mix it up and do a nice little touchdown parlay with you today if that's what we're looking at. I got to compare a couple prices real quick, but I'm definitely in.
Alrighty. I guess I got to see like some of the odds on some of these. I'm going to go specifically on DraftKings here, but
let me ask you your opinion on one real quick while I'm looking at it. What do we think about Jaden Reed versus Wicks? Reed is like even money, a little worse than I thought, and Wicks is like plus 150, plus 160. I feel like Wicks could be a good one, man. Had a touchdown, had a drop touchdown as well last week. Highest target share on the team without Watson. Like, man, I think that's going to be the offensive game. I think that's going to be the one where there's opportunity. Like, I know he's kind of honestly, if Melton props get posted, like I could bet his touchdown as well, but I think Wicks might be pretty good.
Let me check. What is Tucker Crafts? I would take him over Wicks if I could get, 2 or 3 to 1 here.
Let me check real quick. Tucker Crafts. His touchdowns plus 265 on DraftKings.
I thought it'd be higher.
Me too.
All right. I got mine. Stu, who are you rolling with?
Well, you go first then. I'm still looking right now. You go your leg first.
All right. I'm only on DraftKings. Let me know if you guys want to pop around. I'm going to go Fields. I'm going to go Fields at plus 145. Primetime game. We got this Cowboys defense just leaking it everywhere. I got what I needed to see. I got to see that Mr. Jalen Warren's out again. And now we get Najee Harris, who's already probably getting 20 touches in this game. Dude, he's just been really inefficient, man. Even on these short yard carries, man, it's just slow, right? So I'm really, really, really all over Justin Fields this game in this primetime spot. So if it's inside the red zone, dude, I'm tired of watching 3 runs in a row right behind the guy and just doing nothing. So I think that he's pretty much RB2 in this game. I think he's RB2 in this spot. And, Arthur Smith's not going to try to pass the ball more than 12 times in this game. So Cowboys defense been shredded. I think that in the red zone, I think we see a little bit more Fields than Najee. So plus 145 feels like a really good spot, good price as well.
Yeah, I see 162 on 365 if you have it, and then 150 on ESPN. But this is still the outside of those two, the best.
What's up, FanDuel? Is it this or?
It's like it's plus 135. So FanDuel's 10 cents worse.
Okay.
Okay, I think I found a better one. I think I'm going DK Metcalf plus 140 for a touchdown over on FanDuel or MGM or 365. If you got any of those, that should work. Let me combine the price real quick between these two.
You might not need to. I think I saw Terrence in here before, so you might probably get after that.
I like it. I'm quick on the trigger, though. I got 529 right now on 365 is currently the best. 529 and then 500 on FanDuel. So I like this combo. I like DK Metcalf a lot. He's probably going to get Banks in coverage. There's nobody big enough, nobody strong enough to stick with DK. He's one of my favorite touchdown targets because for wide receivers, I look at 2 things. A guy that can score inside the red zone, right? You're going to have design targets for you. It's pretty obvious why DK will be the guy in this offense, given his physical size. He's going to be the number 1 red zone option. But also, you want a guy that can score outside of the red zone, that has that big play potential, because that's also how you're going to get your wide receiver scores. DK Metcalf is obviously one of the better downfield separators in the league. Great route runner, great at using his size to get open, his athleticism to beat people. Truly one of the guys that if you're building a guy to score a bunch of touchdowns and you're building him in a lab, DK Metcalf is probably pretty closest to what you're going to get in the modern day NFL. So great hands, good, he's the overall package. He's one of my favorite touchdown options. And then when you give me a team like the Giants on the other side that aren't doing anything right, they don't have Malik Neighbors, their offense is going to be terrible. We're going to see good field position all day long. Sure, Kenneth Walker is going to get his. I'm sure it's like minus 160 or whatever. Congrats, if you've got him in fantasy. But I think Metcalf is the clear, alpha in the red zone. And I love a plus money price tag, especially against a team that has absolutely nobody to put on him out there.
Yeah, I like it, dude. I like it. I don't mind these. Obviously we've done a few where I've been betting like plus 300s to score touchdowns, but I mean, overall, man, these are guys that you think that are going to be pretty heavily involved in the game plan. Obviously, Fields touching the ball every play, so feeling pretty good about these spots that we're rolling with this week. So, obviously, recap 5 minutes ago, we got Fields and Metcalf as our 2 touchdown guys. Stu, you got anything else for the people? We got 60 people still with us, an hour and 10 minutes in, hour and 5 minutes in.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is a role player week, guys. This is a fucking role player week. I've been looking at the board. I got a couple chalk guys in. We talked about the big names, but you know me. This is hard for me. I want the Dares of the world. I want the Gumbawale. I want his lines, but they're not up yet. They don't give me that up yet. There are a lot of very tempting role players I'm going to be betting on. I'll throw another little sleeper out there, Luke McCaffrey week. It's the time he finally sheds the Christian McCaffrey's brother scale and does something good. I'm excited for that. But there's a lot of like low-key guys this week, so I will have some more props out there, whether it is on Twitter or my 4 for 4 article is going to go up right after this show. If you do want all my plays, I post them in the 4 for 4 Discord first. You get that $10 a month with code Monotone or just code Mono. And yeah, go check that out. If not, keep tuning to Pass the Prop Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Absolutely on fire recently. I should be one of those guys that puts those, green checkmark posts where I talk about how many in a row I've won in like a random sample size, like 11 or 13. That's always the funniest to see. Who the fuck counts things in 13s? Nobody ever does that. You're just doing that because you lost your 14th bet,
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking of bringing out some of those strategies. The newest one is where you put the red check mark under when the tweet is collapsing. So you put all the green check marks and then you put all the red ones in the show more part of the tweet, which is like, what are we doing here, guys? That's so stupid.
And my favorite one is they could easily put it up high enough, but they put like a space in between each one. So it's like it spreads out far enough where it has to go underneath. So it's like it's smart though. I'll give it to them. I'm like, all you have to do is literally just delete the line of free space, and wow, I can actually see everything. But hey, that ain't me. We that's not my business, man. It's just funny when you see it because, dude, gambling Twitter, man, it's a place like no else. No other place like gambling Twitter. So just make sure if you're following other guys, you know they're good people, and hopefully you're making money wherever you're tailing. So.
Yeah, my next promo tweet's going to be like, we got 4 locks for you guys, ready to go, stone cold killers, Like, I don't know. We gotta lean into it. More emojis, less analysis. That's what I'm trying to work on for the future of Pass the Prop here.
That's gotta be the next title of the next one. More emojis, less props. Less analysis. I like it. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Still 50 of you guys in here. We appreciate all you guys. Hitting over 30 likes in live is pretty impressive. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And showing your support. Hopefully we're able to cash in all of these ones for you guys and have a hell of a weekend. So thank you guys so much. Hit that like button on your way out, and we will see you guys on Monday. Have a good one, guys.